He wasn't just a footballer, he was a dream that refused to stop. Some children grow up with toys, some grow up with books, and some grow up with nothing but a dream. In a country where hope often hides behind empty pockets, where the streets are loud, the houses are small, and tomorrow is never guaranteed, a little boy began chasing a football as though it carried the answer to every question life would ever ask him. No one knew his name. No one imagined that one day millions of people would wear his jersey. No one could have guessed that an entire generation would learn football through his smile. His name was Neymar. Long before the cameras, long before the trophies, long before the headlines called him a superstar, he was simply a child who wanted to play. The streets of Brazil were never quiet. They echoed with music, laughter, arguments, and dreams. Every narrow alley looked like a football pitch. Every worn-out ball carried the hopes of another family searching for a better future. Among those children was a skinny boy with fearless eyes and impossible imagination. While others kicked the ball, he danced with it. The football never seemed to leave his feet. It moved like it trusted him. Every touch carried joy. Every dribble felt like a song. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. He simply loved the game. His father noticed something unusual. Not just talent, freedom, the kind of freedom that cannot be taught. His father had once dreamed of becoming a professional footballer himself. Life had taken that dream away. Bills came before ambition. Responsibilities replaced opportunities. But now, watching his son play, he saw another chance. Not for himself, but for the little boy whose feet seemed to speak a language the world had forgotten. Money was always short. Some days were harder than others. The family moved often. Nothing was guaranteed. Yet one thing never changed: the football. No matter where life pushed them, Neymar always found a place to play. A dusty road, a tiny backyard, a crowded court. It didn't matter. As long as there was a ball, he smiled. Many children dream. Very few are willing to sacrifice everything for that dream. Neymar didn't know he was sacrificing. To him, football wasn't work, it was happiness. Hours disappeared as he practiced tricks over and over again. He fell, he stood back up. He failed, he tried again. Nobody counted those invisible hours. Nobody applauded the empty streets. Nobody filmed the lonely evenings when a young boy kept chasing perfection. Years later, people would call him gifted. But gifts alone never create legends. Discipline hides where cameras never look. The first people who watched him closely couldn't believe what they were seeing. A child moving with the confidence of a grown professional. His body was small, but his imagination had no limits. He played without fear. He challenged bigger players. He smiled after being fouled. He got up before anyone could feel sorry for him. Because football was never about avoiding pain. It was about creating beauty. As his reputation spread through local competitions, the whispers became conversations. The conversations became excitement. Who is this kid? How does he do that? Is he really that good? Scouts began appearing more often. Coaches couldn't ignore him anymore. Brazil had seen great talents before, but this boy played differently. He didn't just bait defenders, he entertained them. Even opponents couldn't help smiling after being embarrassed by one of his tricks. That joy became his signature. He reminded people why they had fallen in love with football in the first place. Not because of trophies, not because of money, but because football could make people feel like children again. Eventually, one of Brazil's biggest clubs came calling. Santos. The same club that had once introduced the world to Pelé. History suddenly knocked on the door of another young dreamer. For many families, this would have been terrifying. Leaving childhood behind, entering professional football, facing expectations impossible for most teenagers. But Neymar didn't carry fear into Santos. He carried wonder. Every training session became another opportunity. Every mistake became another lesson. Every success became another reason to work harder. The coaches quickly realized they weren't developing an ordinary player. They were witnessing the beginning of something extraordinary. Still, talent always attracts pressure. The more people praised him, the more others waited for him to fail. Some called him too flashy, too playful, too confident. They believed football should be serious. Neymar believed football should be beautiful. He refused to stop smiling. He refused to stop dribbling. He refused to become ordinary just to make critics comfortable. That decision would define his entire career. Because greatness is never loved by everyone, the world celebrates uniqueness, only after trying to destroy it first. As Neymar grew older, the child from Brazil slowly disappeared. Not because he lost his innocence, but because responsibility arrived. His family depended on him. Millions expected miracles every weekend. Every match became an examination. Every missed chance became tomorrow's newspaper headline. Yet somehow, when the whistle blew, He still played like the little boy from the streets, as though football was still just a game, and perhaps that was his greatest strength. Before fame changed his life, before Europe learned his name, before billions watched him under the brightest stadium lights, there was simply a Brazilian child running after a football, completely unaware that destiny was already running after him.